Hare Krishna. Can this be put a little bit louder, please? I'm very grateful to be with all of you. Krishna wanted to purify me, so he took away my voice. So we will discuss on our seminar 8 treasures that Lord Chaitanya gave us besides the chanting of the holy names. And these treasures are 2 things from each sampradaya that Lord Chaitanya took and incorporated in his own philosophy. So I think it's very beneficial for us devotees of Lord Chaitanya to know these 8 items that Lord Chaitanya accepted. So when Jiva Goswami heard that Lord Chaitanya left this world, he was really devastated. And he immediately left to Navadvip, where Lord Nityananda was still present on this world. And Lord Nityananda blessed Jiva Goswami and took him to Navadvip Mandala Parikrama. And he explained many things to him. And amongst others, he explained also what Lord Chaitanya accepted from different sampradayas. And today we'll discuss the first item he accepted from Madhva, Gaudiya Madhva Sampradaya, because the Lord Chaitanya accepted the initiation from Ishvara Puri in Gaudiya Madhva Sampradaya. And because he's the Supreme Lord himself, this is now celebrated, this Sampradaya, as Gaudiya Vaishnava, Brahma-Madhva Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. Because Gaudiya is because of Lord Chaitanya is from Bengal, from Gauda Desh. Yes. So it is very significant that Lord Chaitanya took initiation in Madhva Sampradaya because Madhva very forcefully defeated Mayavada philosophy. Yes. Kevala-advaita-nirasana. Yes, the complete defeat of Mayavada philosophy. This is very important. Why? What do you think? Because it's seminar, it's good to have some discussion. Yes, this is the statement of Lord Chaitanya, in this spirit to destroy Mayavada philosophy. But why he wanted to destroy Mayavada philosophy so desperately, we can say?
We cannot have love of Krishna with Mayavada philosophy. There's no Krishna.
Exactly. There is no Krishna. In Mayavada philosophy, we cannot establish our relationship, eternal relationship. We want to have loving relationship, eternal loving relationship, absolutely fulfilling. And this is possible only with eternal absolute being. And this is only Krishna. Yes. And the other thing, if this Mayavada philosophy would be just obscured thing somewhere, in some corner, maybe Lord Chaitanya wouldn't bother so much. but it was prevalent philosophy in India. And we can see this philosophy still persists, and not just in India, all over the world. We can trace this Mayavad philosophy also in the Western world. We can see that different so-called spiritual groups, they are just Mayavada, propagating Mayavada. And all this spiritual psychology, which is popular in the West very much, and different kinds of yoga studios and so on, they're propagating Mayavad philosophy, basically. When I started to read Prabhupada's books, I don't know, 28 or maybe 30 years ago, I was puzzled why Prabhupada mentions these Mayavadis here and there all the time. Mayavadis, this Mayavadis, that. I said, but where are these Mayavadis? There are no Mayavadis here. But you can see, only later, much later, I realized, yes, everything is infested by Mayavad. Even if you want to lord over other living entities, which is common in this world, is some kind of wanting to be a supreme. This is some derivation of Mayavad philosophy also. So we can examine our heart also. If we have this tendency to lord over other living entities and other in this world, we have Mayavad tendencies ourselves also. Maybe traces, but they are still there. So we should fight against Mayavad as a family tradition from Lord Chaitanya. Yes, because we can see how much our acharyas, how much stress they put on defeating Mayavad philosophy. This is not just some detail in their preaching, but it was very forceful. Bhaktivinoda Thakur philosophically destroyed Mayavada, and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he was a lying guru. Yes, famous as a lying guru, very forceful, preaching against Mayavad and against all Abha sampradayas. He was threatened to be killed many times, and even tried to be killed many times, not just threatened. Yes, because if you disrupt some customs, you are hated by many people, because many people's livelihood depends on these misconceptions and so on. Yes, so, and Prabhupada also is extremely forceful in defeating Mayavad philosophy. We can just open his books and we will see Mayavad mentioned many times. So, but actually, for us to accept Mayavad, or for anyone, any living entity, it means must be crazy. It's as simple as that, because Mayavad philosophy is crazy. Really crazy. Completely out of mind. No intelligence. For example, for one to even speak Mayavad philosophy, it means that he doesn't believe in Mayavad philosophy. Isn't it? Why would he speak? To whom he would speak? If everything is one, am I speaking to myself? Isn't it? It's crazy. So if you speak something, if you write something, that means that there are two. One who is speaking or writing, and one who is receiving this information. Isn't it? So, sorry? You can write for yourself. But even if you write for yourself, that means it's something outside of you that you must remember. Understand the point? Yes. It's something external, that it's not part of you, or it's not part of you anymore. Understand? So, it's Mayavad philosophy, it's crazy. If you look at it philosophically, seriously philosophically, it's crazy. And also means that no Mayavadi ever achieved perfection yet. Because if one achieves perfection, that means everyone should be liberated at once. Because if you are one, non-dual, completely, absolutely, no variety. If one is liberated, everyone is liberated. Yes, that means no Mayavad had ever achieved perfection. And this is aligned with our philosophy, because according to Bhagavatam and other scriptures and our acharyas, and only also by Mayavadis themselves, no one can achieve perfection without bhakti. Even Mayavadis, therefore, they chant the holy names. You can hear Mayavadis chanting the holy names and worshipping the deities, and perform other limbs of bhakti to achieve their purpose. Because it is known from Shastra to everyone that you cannot achieve perfection in your path without bhakti. Even karma, you cannot achieve your goal of karma without bhakti. Only bhakti is parama svatantra, completely independent. That means all processes depend on bhakti. But bhakti doesn't depend on anything. Yes. Bhakti depends on bhakti. Only. Yes. So, but the problem with Mayavadis is, even if they perform bhakti, and they do, if they're proper Mayavadis, they offend the Bhakti Devi, because they consider Lord Krishna as sattva guna. They think that they accept Lord Krishna as the Lord, yes, but I think you cannot screw it too tightly. Okay. So, even if Mayavadis accept the Lord as the Lord, they think this Lord is just Brahman who is manifest in this material world in sattva guna. That means that he's contaminated with material modes of material nature. Although he's sattva and he's all-powerful and everything like this. Therefore, he's not transcendental, he's not beyond Brahman. He's subordinate to Brahman and subordinate to material nature. Actually, because he's considered sattva guna. Therefore, we should know the philosophy, at least the basics. It's not difficult to defeat Mayavada if you have this understanding. And you just apply a little logic and it's clear that Mayavada philosophy is ludicrous, crazy. And we have example also from Lord Chaitanya. It was very interesting. He was extremely meek and humble. And this is also our philosophy, to be meek and humble. For example, he was taught Vedanta Sutra, straight Mayavada philosophy, for 7 days from Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was extremely learned. In fact, Navadvip was famous to have all different branches of philosophy, except Nyaya. And Nyaya was kept separate in some other place. Do you remember in which place? I don't remember now. And it was not allowed for any student to take notes of Nyaya, because they were the seat of Nyaya philosophy. And they didn't want to be anywhere else known this Nyaya philosophy. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya studied there also. And he was so intelligent and he so capable. He remembered all Nyaya by heart. He didn't take notes. But later on, he wrote it down by memory. Exactly everything. So, and he was teaching Nyaya in Navadvip, so Navadvip became the seat of all the philosophies. And he was so famous by his erudite knowledge that he became guru of King Prataparudra, the king of Orissa. Yes. Yes. Nyaya means logic. And he became a guru's, king's guru. You cannot get a higher position than this. So, yes. And he was learned in many shastras. Even he knew different symptoms of love of God. As we know, when Lord Chaitanya entered the temple of Jagannath for the first time, he was so overwhelmed with love for Lord Jagannath that he ran to embrace the Lord. But when he was running there, he lost consciousness and he just fell on the floor unconscious. And there were chokidars there. The guards who wanted to beat the Lord because there's some intruder who wants to jump on the altar. Must be beaten. Yes, and but it happened that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was at the time at the temple, and he stopped them, and he could see that this is not an ordinary personality, that has all the signs of great personality himself, and that his mood are transformations of ecstasy. It's not just some crazy crazy man. And he checked if he's alive at all, and there were no signs of life in him, except the cotton swab get little stirred. So the Lord slightly breathed, but there was no other sign of life in him. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya ordered to his servants to bring Lord Chaitanya to his place, to his house. And then later on, associates of Lord Chaitanya came after the Lord, because the Lord wanted to go alone, because Lord Nityananda broke his danda. And this is also connected with this defeating Mayavad philosophy, because Lord Chaitanya accepted sannyas in Mayavad sampradaya. Isn't it interesting? He wanted to defeat Mayavad, and accepting sannyas in Mayavad sampradaya. It's interesting. But he accepted because Mayavad sannyasis were widely accepted as bona fide. So his preaching would reach people in this way. So we can see that that Acharya can apply many controversial things even to achieve the purpose of spreading Krishna consciousness. Yes. One such controversial thing was taught by Narada Muni to Valmiki, who was a murderer and robber. And he was so sinful, he couldn't pronounce the name of Rama. Yes. So Narada Muni told him to say the word death, because he was familiar with death. He was spreading death all around. So you repeat death, death, death. Mara, Mara, Mara. Yes. And because if you repeat Mara, 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 it's Rama, 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 Rama. And he taught to Mrigari Dehanda, Shri Panchatattva ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande. And he taught Mrigari Dehanta, his first instruction was what? Yes, kill the animals completely. Yes, this is not our philosophy, to kill animals at all. So don't kill them in such a way that they suffer long time. If you kill them immediately. Yes, because he was enjoying seeing the animals suffer. He was taught this way by his father. It was a family tradition to half kill animals and enjoy seeing them suffer. It's extremely cruel. Yes, so Narada Muni instructed him, kill them completely, not immediately, not just half killing them. of course, he later on instructed him the true philosophy, and also Vamilki became a great devotee. This was the outcome of their preaching, of his preaching, Narada Muni, and also the outcome of Lord Chaitanya accepting sannyas in Mayavada sampradaya was that everyone became a devotee. Yes. So, Lord Nityananda, if we come back to this story of Lord Chaitanya, he couldn't tolerate that Lord is carrying ekadanda, single staff, because this is the sign of Mayavad. Everything is one. So there is ekadanda, one staff. Vaishnava sannyasis, they carry three danda. Yes. So then Lord Nityananda broke this danda to three pieces to become a three danda. But of course, because the Lord shouldn't be a servant of anyone, that he threw the Ganga, the danda into the Ganges. Because the stuff shouldn't be carried around by the Lord. Yes, but the Lord was very disturbed by this, so he wanted to go alone in Jagannath Puri. And so devotees followed him. So they weren't together when this incident happened in the temple of Lord Jagannath. So then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya saw that the Lord is very beautiful and young, and that he's sannyasi, and that he accepted sannyas in not the highest sampradaya of Mayavadis, not in Sarasvati sampradaya, but Bharati sampradaya, and this was counted as inferior. So he was so powerful guru, although he himself was not a sannyasi. He said that I can elevate this person, elevate Lord Chaitanya to higher sampradaya. Yes. And that infuriated Gopinathacharya, who was his brother-in-law. He said, "You don't understand who is Lord Chaitanya." His supreme personality of Godhead. And he's completely independent and he can do whatever he wants. But because Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was Mayavadi, he couldn't accept what his cousin, brother-in-law said. So he decided to help Lord Chaitanya. And first, he wanted to teach him Vedanta Sutra very thoroughly. Because he said, he was considering, Lord Chaitanya is so beautiful and so young that he can be allured by some attractions in this world, especially of opposite sex. Yes, because the attraction of opposite sex is very strong, especially for young men. Yes, so he should be instructed very thoroughly on Vedanta philosophy, that he can become really strong in his renunciation. So, and Lord Chaitanya was very grateful that he is the senior most of gurus who is taking so much care for him, and kind. He's so kind, and so Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was teaching Lord Chaitanya 7 days on Advaita philosophy, on kevala-advaita philosophy, because we also have Shuddha-advaita philosophy, which is Vaishnava philosophy. So on kevala-advaita philosophy, on teaching him Vedanta Sutra. But Lord Chaitanya kept silent for 7 days. Can you imagine? Someone is teaching you something all day long, 7 days, and you are completely silent for all this time. And this is from one perspective, and from the other, that you are teaching someone for 7 days, and he's completely silent. No sign of understanding, or no sign of anything coming from him. So it was very bewildering for Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. What's happening? What's going on? And then after 7 days, he couldn't stand anymore. So he asked Lord Chaitanya, do you understand? Do you understand anything what I have said? And Lord Chaitanya very humbly said, no, I don't understand anything. And so Bhattacharya said, but why didn't you ask any questions? What's wrong? And he said, because the sutras of Vedanta are as clear as the sun in the blue sky. But your purpose to this and to these sutras are just like dark clouds that obscure the sun, and nothing can be seen. So your explanation just disturbs my mind, and nothing can be understood properly by your explanation. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was taken aback. How is this possible? I'm celebrated as the most famous acharya, as the greatest guru, the guru of the king himself. And here's the young sannyasi who claims that he understands everything, but my commentary is obscuring the true meaning. So then he asked Lord Chaitanya to explain. And he explained Vedanta Sutra most profoundly, and then they discussed further also on Srimad Bhagavatam, because Lord Chaitanya explained that Srimad Bhagavatam is also is the natural purport to Vedanta Sutra, and that even great liberated souls accept bhakti. Atmaramascha munayo nirgrante apayurkrame kurventa haitikim bhaktim itam uta ganohari. That these gunas of Hari, that means qualities, transcendental qualities, are so attractive that they attract even the Atmaramas, those who are completely satisfied in themselves. An example, the most famous example of Atmarama, who was attracted to Lord's quality, is who? Shukadeva Goswami. Yes. Shukadeva Goswami was so detached from this world. Then immediately, at first he didn't want to come out of the womb of his mother. Only when he was ensured that he would not get influenced by Maya, he agreed to be born. And when he was born, immediately he left. Immediately. And father was really disturbed. He was calling him, son, wait. And it is explained in the second chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, of the first canto, second verse, that only trees replied to the saddened father, son. Yes. So, and later on, Vyasadeva devised a plan. He said to his disciples, there is one powerful demon, man-eating demon, in the forest. And but we have to get wood from the forest to light fire, to cook. So when you go to the forest, chant the verses from Srimad Bhagavatam. Because he is afraid of verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. So, and chant them as loudly as possible when you go fetch wood. And then these disciples went to the forest and were fetching wood and chanting loudly the verses from Bhagavatam. And when Shukadeva Goswami heard them chanting these verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, he was so attracted to these verses about the Lord that he approached them. And when they saw this apparently crazy person, they thought, oh, this is the demon. And they were chanting these verses even louder and ran back home. And he was running behind them. And so he came back home. And then father said, oh, very nice, you came home. So now I can teach you this Srimad Bhagavatam. So yes, he received this Srimad Bhagavatam from Vyasadeva, and of course, so Lord's qualities are much higher than even to be perfectly happy in yourself. So then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya asked the Lord to explain this verse. And he explained the verse Atmarama in 64 ways. So, and at that time Sarvabhauma, first he explained, Lord Chaitanya said to him, please you explain first. And he explained, I think, on 12 different ways. Really erudite scholar who can explain one verse in 12 different ways. But then Lord Chaitanya didn't even touch on his explanations. He explained in 64 different ways. And so then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya understood, this must be the Supreme Lord. No one can be so intelligent. And he became a devotee himself. And then the next instance when Lord Chaitanya defeated Mayavada philosophy was when he met mm, Prakashananda Saraswati and this group of sannyasis in Varanasi. Varanasi is the seat of the Mayavadis. So there was very powerful Mayavadi called Prakashananda Saraswati. And when Lord Chaitanya came to Varanasi, he performed Sankirtan, congregational chanting of the holy names in the streets. And those Mayavadis heavily criticized the Lord. And they said that he's just a sentimentalist and chanting and dancing on the streets instead of studying Vedanta, which is the only business of sannyasis. And one Brahmana couldn't tolerate this criticism of Lord Chaitanya, and he invited all the sannyasis for lunch, and he begged Lord Chaitanya to come also to lunch, that those sannyasis should be pacified and wouldn't criticize the Lord anymore. So the Lord came, and first thing he did, what he did?
Sat down by the water you wash your feet.
Yes, he sat down there where people wash their feet. Very low place. And he manifested his effulgence. Brahman effulgence was emanating from his body. So these Mayavadis were charmed by the Lord, first by his humility, extreme humility we can say, because he was sitting there, although he was one of them, and his energy was very humble and meek. And so Prakashananda Saraswati, this big leader, was charmed, and he also saw that he's glowing. He's really a special personality. And so he went personally to him and grabbed him by the hand and said, "Please, why are you sitting here? Please sit among us. You are sannyasis as we are." So Lord came to their midst, and then he was asked, "Why do you sing and dance with these sentimentalists instead of studying Vedanta Sutra, which we are supposed to do?" And what was the Lord's reply? Yes, my Guru said that I'm a fool. I cannot understand proper philosophy. So he said to me, "Just chant this mantra." And as I was chanting this mantra, I began to cry and shiver, and I got goosebumps all over my body. My hair stand on end. So I went back to my Guru and asked him, "What kind of mantra you gave me?" I became mad, and I described what symptoms I have. And he said, "Very good, my son. You achieved love of God, and this is meant by this mantra. And besides this, it is explained in Shastra, Harir Nama, Harir Nama, Harir Namaiva Kevalam, Kalo Nastiva, Nastiva, Nastiva Gatiranyata." And that in this age of Kali, There is no other way, no other way, no other way than the chanting of the holy names, chanting of the holy names, chanting of the holy names. Yes, it's very interesting, this verse, because if there is something that is mentioned in Shastra once, it's very important, isn't it? Because Vyasadeva didn't have some quota to fulfill, so much characters without space, or something should be there, or so many words. No. So whatever he put in Shastra is really important. And if something is mentioned twice, is really important, extremely important actually. There are only 2 verses, half of the verses repeated twice in Bhagavad-Gita. But if something is mentioned 3 times, it's completely necessary for every living entity. You cannot go around it. Yes, it's unavoidable. But we have in one verse 2 times, 3 times. Harir Nama, Harir Nama, Harir Nama. 3 times Harir Nama. And Kalo, that means in the age of Kali, Nasti Eva, Nasti Eva, Nasti Eva, 3 times Nasti Eva. Eva means certainly. And it's said, Harir Nama, Harir Nama, Harir Nameva Kevalam. Na Eva. Certainly not Kevala. Nama Eva. Certainly the name. Kevala. Only the name. Kevala means only. Only name. Only the name. Very strongly. Eva, the word means certainly, only. Something, the word that strongly supports some statement. It's Eva. Yes, so certainly and only, 2 times emphasized, only the name. And asti means there is, and nasti means there is not. Kalo, in the age of Kali, nasti eva, and eva again used as strong support. Certainly there is not. Nasti eva, nasti eva, nasti eva. 3 times. Certainly there is not. Certainly there is not. Certainly there is not. Gatira neta, other way. So we should know there is no other way than chanting of the holy names in the Kali Yuga. And then he explained philosophy further, and they saw that what he's speaking is absolute reality. We cannot object anything the Lord said. And he completely defeated Shankaracharya's commentary to Mayavada, to Vedanta Sutra, all the Mayavada philosophy. And they accepted this defeat and became devotees and starting to chant the holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And he defeated also derivations of Mayavada, as example of Buddhism. Yes. But we don't have time to explain this story. So, what we should know from this defeating Mayavada philosophy, that we should know that Mayavada philosophy is just something crazy, not based neither on scriptures, nor on philosophy, nor on intelligence either. So we should imply our intelligence and be able to defeat Mayavada, as it is our family tradition. through Lord Chaitanya. Hare Krishna. Do you have any comments or questions? Yes, please.
Yeah, I have a question. you tell about animals which someone tell to kill fast. But
I didn't hear you properly.
you spoke about hunter who was killing animals and
Yes.
like he shouldn't kill animals like this for the sacrifice. It's Narada tell him that he should not to kill them because they suffer so much.
Yes.
My question is if death is fast, is possible not suffer at all or still suffers?
Sorry, what was the question?
She was asking if you kill someone very quickly, do they suffer at all? Was that the question?
Yeah, if you kill someone very quickly,
Or if death coming fast, like accident or something, possible not suffer at all or suffer is there?
yes, this is interesting question. So many times when there is sudden death, living entity, of course, a human being, is so bewildered by death that he or she remains in the subtle body, and because he or she cannot realize that he left or she left the body and stays. But there is no bodily suffering if there is very quick death. For example, if you ever suffered an injury, not a minor one, but maybe more severe injury. Have you ever suffered? Then we can see at the beginning there is no pain. We cannot feel any pain. But later on it becomes very intolerable pain. But at the very first moment there is no pain because of the shock. Yes. So if you kill very quickly the animal will not suffer, at least so much. And if it's a hunter, this killing is not expected by the animal. For example, we have slaughterhouses in modern world, and in slaughterhouses all animals know practically that they will be killed. All atmosphere is death atmosphere. is cruel atmosphere, and animals can sense that they will be killed. And so they are extremely afraid, and before they are brought to a slaughterhouse, they are already treated extremely harshly. They are driven in these trucks on the highways and without proper water and food and so on. So they're extremely afraid what will happen to me, where are they taking me, and so on. So they're suffering all the time. But if a hunter kills animal out of the blue, we can say, then animal doesn't suffer so much. Yes, but if you half kill animal, then of course the animal is in agony for a long time. So yes, this was the mercy of Narada. Of course, immediately he showed this Mrigari what the consequences will be. That these animals that were killed by him are waiting him to avenge their death. And so Mrigari became extremely afraid, and he said, "Please save me from this. How can I be saved? Please help me." And then Narada Muni said, "First you have to break your bow, so that you cannot kill any animals anymore." So if someone is sincere, he should be taught straight philosophy. And if someone is not sincere, he shouldn't be taught at all. Yes, this is another point that we should know. Maybe it's a little bit off the topic, but it's important. I just today read a commentary of Bhaktivinoda Thakur in some essay, in fact, on Upadeshamrita, on Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and he said that no one should accept a disciple who has not, who doesn't have firm faith in Shuddha Bhakti, in pure devotional service. If we accept a disciple who has not firm faith in Shuddha Bhakti, will just pollute the sampradaya. So yes, so we should teach our dependents Shuddha Bhakti, pure devotional service. And so immediately when Mrigari showed that he's sincere, he ordered him to break the bow, the means of livelihood practically. So, yes, this is the principle. Hare Krishna. Yes, please.
These eight treasures of Lord Chaitanya, and so this class here that you gave, it was mainly about Mayavada.
Yes, it was on the first treasure. This is the first treasure, defeating Mayavada philosophy.
That is one of the treasures of Gaudiya-Vaishnava.
Of Madhva Sampradaya, of Brahma-Madhva Sampradaya. Yes. Sorry?
So, okay, so now I understand.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaura Pramanandi, Hari Hari Om. Please accept my